Imagine you're descending stone steps into a cave that wasn't on your maps just yesterday. Your flashlight pierces the darkness, revealing walls etched with strange symbols. The air is warm, too warm for an underground chamber at the end of September. In the center of the hall stands a stone sarcophagus with a transparent lid. Inside lies a woman. Young, beautiful, motionless. Lifeless. That's what you'd think at first. Where did she come from? Who placed her in this stone coffin? And most importantly, then you notice the condensation. Tiny droplets of moisture on the inside of the lid, right above her lips. They slowly trickle down the transparent surface. She's breathing, deep underground, in a sealed sarcophagus, surrounded by symbols you've never seen. She's breathing. What would you do? Run away? Call for help? Or open the lid? One man opened it and discovered she had been waiting there not for years or decades, but much, much longer. This story was told to me by someone I trust unconditionally. And now I want to share it with you. Fyodor Osipov celebrated his 52nd birthday just like the previous 31. Alone. It wasn't a tragedy or cause for pity. It was a choice made long ago and never questioned. After the divorce, after his daughter moved to the city and gradually faded into her own life, after his mother's death, he simply stayed where he felt good. 170 kilometers from the nearest district center, in a hut on the edge of a ravine locals called the Black Corner. The name held no ominous meaning. It was just that the sun rarely peaked in here. The slopes of the hills blocked the gorge most of the day. It was always dim, damp, and quiet, perfect for Fyodor. He'd been a game warden for 28 years. First as an assistant, then when old Kuzmich retired on his own. His territory was vast, over 300 square kilometers. Poachers, fires, animal counts, patrols. There was plenty of work. But Fyodor knew every square meter of this land. He knew where the cow moose calved every spring, which ravine the old solitary bear hibernated in, which streams dried up in August, and which ones didn't freeze even in January's frosts. He knew everything, or so he thought. That September turned out unusually rainy. It poured for nearly 3 weeks straight. A fine, nagging, cold drizzle that rotted mushrooms and soured moods. The soil turned to mush, paths into muddy rivers, and Fyodor spent most of his time in the hut, mending gear and listening to the patter of drops on the roof. When the weather finally cleared, he set out on patrol and immediately sensed something had changed. A warden's intuition isn't something you can explain in words. It's not a sixth sense or mysticism, just thousands of hours in the forest, thousands of details your brain registers automatically, without bothering your conscious mind. Suddenly, you just know something's off and you're almost always right. Fyodor veered off his usual path and headed up the slope of a hill he'd always skirted before. Too steep, too inconvenient, no trails, no interest. But now something drew him there. He spotted it after half an hour of walking. A landslide, fresh, recent, probably from the last days of the heavy rains. A layer of earth several meters thick had slid down the slope, exposing the rocky base. Pines and birches lay uprooted, buried in clay. Fyodor approached, instinctively assessing the damage. He'd have to report it to the forestry office, mark it on the map, check if animal trails were affected. Then he froze. In the exposed rock gaped a fissure, narrow, no more than a meter wide, but tall enough for a person. Jagged edges, sharp, as if giant pincers had torn out a chunk of stone. This hadn't been here before. Fyodor knew the slope. He'd passed it dozens of times. No fissure, no cave. Just solid, gray rock overgrown with lichen. He drew closer, feeling a strange tightness in his chest. He pulled out his flashlight, old, reliable, with lithium batteries that held up even in 40-degree frost. From the fissure came an odd smell. Not musty, not damp, not the peculiar odor of caves. Something warm. Fyodor couldn't think of a better word. Warm. Like stone heated by summer sun, like his mother's pies from childhood, like comfort. He held his hand to the opening and jerked it back. The air was truly warm, 15 degrees at least, while outside it was barely 5, and that without wind. Fyodor switched on the flashlight and aimed the beam inside. Steps. He blinked, rubbed his eyes, looked again. Steps carved into the rock, descending, even uniform in height and width. No natural erosion could create this. No natural process. Someone had carved them long ago, very long ago, judging by the smoothed edges, the darkened stone, the patina of time etched in. Fyodor stood at the entrance, staring at the steps, two feelings warring inside him. The first was common sense, the voice of experience. Leave. Come back with people. Don't go in alone. The second was curiosity, burning, almost childlike, something he hadn't felt in years. Curiosity won. He checked his radio, it worked. Checked his knife on his belt, in place. Checked the flashlight, plenty of battery, and stepped inside. The steps spiraled downward gently, curving around some obstacle in the rock's depths. Fyodor counted 57 before the descent ended. The beam revealed smooth walls, almost polished with patterns. He paused, bringing the light closer. Not patterns, symbols, carved into the stone, filled with something dark. Paint, resin, or something else. Repeating signs, circles crossed by lines, spirals, angular figures like runes. Fyodor wasn't an expert, not a historian or archaeologist. But he knew one thing. These symbols weren't from any culture he recognized. Not Slavic, not Turkic, not like those he'd seen in the district museum's exhibit on local antiquities. Something alien, something very ancient. The corridor widened into a small hall. The ceiling vanished into darkness. The flashlight couldn't reach it. The floor was smooth, without a single crack or pebble. The walls bore the same symbols, but here they formed panels, scenes. Fyodor swept the beam across them, trying to make sense. Human figures, or almost human mountains, rivers, trees, something like stars, something like the sun, something he couldn't name. And in the center of one wall, a clear depiction of a sleeping person. Around them, other figures bowed in reverence or sorrow. Fyodor felt chills run down his spine. Not from cold. It was even warmer here than at the entrance, but from something else. The feeling of being somewhere he shouldn't, seeing what wasn't meant for his eyes. He wanted to turn back. He almost did, but then he heard it. The sound was so faint he first mistook it for his own heartbeat. Rhythmic, slow, deep. 1, 2, 3, for pause. 1, 2, 3, for pause. Breathing. Someone was breathing deeper in, where the light didn't reach. Fyodor stood still, afraid to move, afraid to scare whoever it was. He strained to listen, and the breathing didn't fade. Steady, calm, deep, like a person in sleep, like a beast in its winter den, like someone who'd been sleeping a very, very long time. He took a step forward, then another. The flashlight trembled in his hand. For the first time in years, Fyodor noticed his hands shaking. The hall ended in a low, narrow passage. He had to stoop. Beyond it opened a smaller chamber. And there, in the depths, Fyodor saw a glow, faint, bluish, pulsing in time with the breathing. It came from the center, from some object he couldn't yet make out. The breathing grew louder, or was it his imagination? Fyodor took another step and realized the glow emanated from something like a sarcophagus. A sarcophagus. Fyodor had never seen one in person, only in pictures, books, documentaries about Egypt. But that was the word that came to mind. A rectangular stone platform, smooth, seamless, as if hewn from a single block. About waist-high, 2 meters long, with a transparent lid. Not glass, something else he'd never seen. The glow came from inside. He approached, no longer in control, ignoring the voice of reason screaming in the back of his mind. He leaned in, looked through the transparent lid, and forgot to breathe. There lay a woman, young, no more than 30. Long dark hair splayed across the stone bed. Pale face, serene with delicate features. Closed eyes, long lashes. Lips slightly parted. She was beautiful, not the flashy, magazine kind, but something otherworldly. Fyodor caught himself on that thought and would have smirked if he could. Otherworldly. He, a 52-year-old warden, a materialist to his core, standing over a stone coffin in an underground cave, thinking of otherworldly beauty. Her clothing was strange. Not a dress, not a shirt, something like a long silver tunic, falling in soft folds. Around her neck, a thin necklace of dark metal with a pendant shaped like the symbol he'd seen on the walls. She was dead. Of course she was dead. How many years, how many centuries had she lain here underground in a sealed stone coffin? Fyodor leaned closer, studying her face, and saw the condensation. Tiny droplets on the inside of the transparent lid. right above her lips. She was breathing. She was breathing. Fyodor recoiled so sharply he nearly fell. The flashlight slipped from his sweaty fingers, clattered to the floor, spinning and casting wild shadows on the walls. He snatched it up, straightened, looked again. The condensation remained. Droplets slowly trickled down. This was impossible.
Absolutely, categorically impossible.
Fyodor forced himself to calm down, to breathe evenly, slowly, as he'd learned in first aid courses. Inhale for 4 counts. Exhale for 4. Again. Again. Okay. Just suppose she was alive. Somehow, inexplicably, impossibly, breathing. What should he do? Run for help? The nearest settlement was hours away. The radio, he pulled it out, switched it on. Silence. No signal. Underground, of course. Leave her here and return with people? What if she died for real in the meantime? What if she needed help right now? Fyodor looked at the sarcophagus again, at the transparent lid, at the droplets. She slept like the sleeping beauty from fairy tales, like someone placed here long ago and preserved alive in some impossible, inexplicable way. He had to wake her, or at least try. Fyodor circled the sarcophagus, examining it from all sides. The lid fit snugly, no visible gaps, no hinges, no locks. He ran his hand along the edge. Smooth, perfectly fitted. He pressed. No movement. Then he noticed a recess on the sidewall, near the floor, palm-sized, and inside, the same symbol from the walls, from the woman's necklace. Fyodor crouched, studying it. It was clearly meant for a hand, a human hand. The size was perfect. He hesitated. Somewhere on the edge of his mind, a voice whispered, Don't touch, leave. But another part, the one that had once been a young boy believing in wonders and adventures, had already decided. Fyodor placed his palm in the recess. The stone was warm, almost hot. He felt a slight vibration, as if a mechanism deep inside had activated. The glow inside the sarcophagus brightened, intensified. Then a flash. He squeezed his eyes shut, and a sound, soft, melodic, like a crystal bell. When he opened his eyes, the lid was slowly sliding aside. Fyodor stepped back, then another step. His hand instinctively reached for the knife on his belt, a pointless reflex more than a decision. The lid slid fully open and stopped. Inside lay the woman. Her chest rose and fell slowly. She was breathing, definitely breathing. Fyodor stood frozen, unsure what to do. Wait, call out, touch her? He didn't have time to decide, because the woman opened her eyes. They were gray. No, not gray, silvery, like her clothing, like the fading glow. They looked straight at him with no fear, no surprise, only recognition, acceptance. She gazed at him as if she'd been waiting, as if she knew he would come. Fyodor opened his mouth to say something, anything. Hello, how are you feeling? But he didn't get the chance. The woman tried to sit up. Her arms trembled, buckled. She fell back onto the stone bed. From her throat came a sound. Not a word, not a cry, something in between. A hoarse, helpless groan. And then Fyodor stopped thinking. He stepped to the sarcophagus, leaned in, scooped her under the shoulders. She was light, too light, almost weightless. Her skin felt cold but not icy, alive. He helped her sit. She clutched his arm like a drowning person to a lifeline. Her eyes, those impossible silvery eyes, never left his face. She said something. The sounds were strange, melodic, lilting, unlike anything. Definitely not Russian, not English. Fyodor knew a few phrases. He'd recognize it. Not German, not Chinese. Nothing he'd ever heard on TV or radio. A language that didn't exist or one long forgotten. I don't understand, Fyodor said. His voice sounded hoarse, unfamiliar. Do you hear me? Understand. The woman blinked, tilted her head, listening to his words. Something flickered in her eyes, an attempt to comprehend. She spoke again. Different sounds, different rhythm, as if trying variations. Fyodor shook his head. I don't understand, but we'll figure it out. You need to get out of here. You need help. He spoke slowly, clearly, gesturing. Pointed at her, then at the exit. Mimed walking. The woman looked where he pointed, then back at him and slowly nodded. She understood not the words, perhaps, but the intent. She couldn't stand on her own. Fyodor slung her arm over his shoulder, gripped her waist, helped her up. She was tall, almost his height, and he was 182 centimeters. Her legs trembled, barely holding, but they moved, slowly, step by step, toward the exit. The way back felt endless. Through the small hall, the passage, the large hall with symbols on the walls. The woman looked at them, and something in her face twitched. Recognition, memory. She whispered a few words in her strange language. Then the steps, 57 upward. Fyodor carried her most of the way. She couldn't climb alone. When they emerged outside, it was evening. The sun dipped behind the hills, painting the sky orange and pink. The air was cold. Compared to the cave's warmth, it felt like stepping into a freezer. The woman lifted her face to the sky. Her lips quivered, and she cried. Silently, without sobs, just tears streaming down her pale cheeks. She gazed at the sunset and wept, as if seeing it for the first time, or for the first time in a very, very long time. Fyodor didn't know what to do or say. He just stood beside her, supporting her, and waited. The hut was about an hour's walk. In her state, at least 3. But Fyodor knew one thing. He wouldn't leave her here. No matter how strange, impossible, unreal it was, he wouldn't leave her. They spent the night at his place. The woman lay on his cot, covered with every blanket in the hut. She wouldn't eat, shook her head, turned away from any food. But she drank, greedily, a lot, as if she hadn't seen water in years. She drained a whole kettle, then another. Fyodor sat by the stove, feeding it wood, watching her. Who was she? Where from? How had she ended up in that stone coffin underground? How long had she lain there? He watched and found no answers. Toward morning, she fell into real sleep. Not the strange stupor he'd found her in, but ordinary human sleep, with even breathing and a faint smile on her lips. Fyodor dozed off too, sitting on a stool, leaning against the wall. A voice woke him, quiet, hoarse, but clear. Water! He jumped up. The woman sat on the cot, looking at him, speaking Russian. Water, she repeated, licking her dry lips. Give. Water. Fyodor grabbed a mug, scooped from the bucket, handed it to her. She took it, drank, returned the mug. Thank you. This was impossible. Yesterday she hadn't understood a word. Now she spoke, broken with effort, but spoke. What's your name? Fyodor asked. She was silent a long time, her lips moving as if testing options. Name Long, she said finally. Your language short. You call Yara. Can Yara? I'm Fyodor, he said. She nodded slowly. Fyodor, she repeated, tasting the sounds. Then she raised her hand weakly, trembling, and showed him her wrist. There was a tattoo, dark, sharp, as if inked yesterday. The same symbol. A circle crossed by 3 lines with a spiral inside, just like on the cave walls. Fyodor stared at the tattoo, then at her. Who are you? He whispered. Yara didn't answer, but in her silvery eyes, he saw something that sent a chill down his spine. She knew. She knew and couldn't say yet. For the first 3 days, Yara barely left the cot. She slept a lot, deeply, 12 to 14 hours at a stretch. She'd wake, drink water, gaze at Fyodor with her strange silvery eyes, say a few words and sleep again. Her body was recovering, gaining strength. After that, Fyodor didn't know, couldn't imagine. He watched her. That's all he could do. Each day she spoke a bit better, more confidently. Words came to her from some depth. She'd furrow her brow, move her lips, pulling them from a forgotten well of memory. Sometimes she'd err, mix cases and tenses, build sentences wrong, but with each hour more accurately. Did you know Russian before? Fyodor asked on the second day. Yara thought long before answering. Knew similar long ago. Words changed. I remember. Adapt. How long ago? She shook her head. Don't know. Many suns, many winters. Count lost. Fyodor didn't press. It was clear conversations tired her, not just the language but her weakness. She fatigued quickly, got confused, fell silent. On the 3rd day, she ate for the first time. Fyodor made simple porridge, oatmeal and water, no salt, no sugar. Set the bowl before her, not insisting. She stared long, sniffed, then took the spoon uncertainly, as if forgetting how to use it, and tried. She ate it all. Good, she said, returning the bowl. Body asks. Before didn't ask. Before, when you slept down there. Yara nodded. Sleep different, not like now. Deep. Body not live. Waits. Waits for what? She looked at him. Something flashed in her eyes. Sadness, perhaps regret. When needed, when called. Fyodor wanted to ask who would call. Why? But Yara closed her eyes, leaned back on the pillow. The conversation ended. On the fourth day, she stood on her own. Fyodor woke to the sound of footsteps. Yara stood at the window holding the sill, looking out. Morning light fell on her face, and Fyodor saw her truly for the first time. Not in the cave's dimness, not by kerosene lamp. She was beautiful, not with youthful beauty, but something else. Her face bore the imprint of time, though wrinkle-free. Wisdom, weariness. Fyodor couldn't find the words. The world changed, she said without turning. Trees same, mountains same, but air different, heavy, sick. Fyodor approached, stood beside her. That's called pollution. Factories, cars, cities. Cities, she repeated, tasting the word. Many people, one place. Yes, I remember small cities. Wooden. Now big, stone, glass. Yara turned to him. Her silvery eyes were serious. How much time? Since I slept. Fyodor spread his hands. I don't know. I don't know when you slept. Can you remember? She frowned, fingers tightening on the sill. Remember pieces, fragments. People different. Clothes, skins, furs. Little iron. No writing. Or rare. Fyodor felt a chill inside. That's very long ago. Thousands of years, maybe. Yara nodded silently, as if it wasn't news, as if she already knew or guessed. Thousands, she echoed softly. Yes, probably. They stood at the window in silence. Outside, the taiga rustled. Wind swayed pine tops. A jay cried somewhere. An ordinary morning, an ordinary day, nothing ordinary. Why did you sleep? Fyodor asked finally. Why? Yara turned from the window, walked to the table. Slowly, still weak but surer than yesterday, sat on the stool. Long to explain. My language poor, your language poor for this too. But try. She paused, gathering thoughts. My people, guardians. We stood between worlds. This, she gestured around. And other, the one beyond edge. Beyond what edge? Beyond visible, felt. There's world, you know. Forest, mountains, sky. And another next, thin wall between. We watched wall not tear. Nothing come from there here. Nothing go from here there. Fyodor listened. Part of him said, nonsense, fairy tales. She's mad. Needs a doctor. Another part, the one that found her alive in a stone coffin after millennia, stayed silent, absorbing every word. We were many, Yara continued. Then fewer, then very few. People grew stronger. Forgot old, no need guardians. We left, slept, waited. Waited for what? When needed again, when wall thin, when something seeps through. Fyodor rubbed his face. This was too much, too strange, too far from everything he knew about the world. And you woke now because, don't know, Yara interrupted. Didn't wake myself. You woke me. You opened bed, placed hand. I didn't know. I just, chance or not, hard say. She raised her hand, looked at the tattoo on her wrist. Circle crossed by lines, spiral inside. This guardian's mark, she said. Each us wears. Same on wall's place I slept. Same on my bed. If you know right, bed not open. Right? What right?
I'm ordinary man. Vorden.
Guard forest from poachers. Yara smiled faintly for the first time. Guard forest, watch order, stand between people and wild. Maybe not so ordinary. Fyodor didn't know what to say. The day passed in a strange, unsteady balance. Yara gained strength, ate, drank, stepped out on the porch to breathe the air. Fyodor did his usual chores. Chopping wood, checking gear, cooking. But every free moment, he watched her, tried to understand, couldn't. Toward evening, something happened that finally convinced him. Yara was no ordinary person, not mad, not an escapee or experiment victim. something entirely other. They sat on the porch, watching the sun set behind the hills. Yara huddled in Fyodor's old sheepskin coat, still chilly. From the forest emerged a fox, an ordinary red fox common in these parts. But its behavior was odd. It didn't flee or hide. It approached straight to the hut, to the porch, to them. Fyodor tensed. Rabies? Sick animal. Don't fear, Yara said softly. She's healthy, just came. The fox stopped a few meters away, looked at Yara. Yara looked back, and something passed between them. Fyodor didn't see it but felt it. An exchange, wordless communication. After a minute, the fox turned and trotted into the forest, calmly, unhurried. What was that? Fyodor asked. She told me about forest, Yara replied simply. Where dangerous, where calm, where much food, where little. You talk to animals? Not talk, hear, feel. They simpler than people. Cleaner. Easy with them. Fyodor was silent. He didn't know what to say. Later, in the dark, Yara suddenly lifted her head and looked north. Tomorrow snow, she said. Much strong wind from mountains. They can't go out. Fyodor looked at the sky. Clear, starry, not a cloud. How you know? Feel. Earth says, air says. He wanted to argue but remembered. The fox, the stone coffin, silvery eyes. He stayed quiet. The next morning, a blizzard came from the north. Fierce, howling, with wet snow and icy wind. For 2 days, they couldn't leave the hut. Yara didn't say, I told you so. She just sat by the stove and learned to speak. A week passed, then another. Fyodor looked at Yara and didn't recognize the weak, barely alive woman he'd carried from the cave. She grew strong, her cheeks pinked. She moved confidently, spoke almost without mistakes, only stumbling on complex words. She learned not just language, everything. How to use matches, how the kerosene lamp worked, what radio was, though here it caught only static crackle. What cans were, plastic, synthetic fabric. Your world, she said once. Invented much useful and much extra, unneeded, that clogs earth and water. That's called progress, Fyodor replied. Strange word for moving backward. He had no retort. Yara began helping around the house. First simple. Sweep floor, wash dishes. Then complex. She proved incredibly adept at handwork. Watched Fyodor mend a net, and in an hour did it better. Watched him gut fish, and by evening did it as if lifelong. Body remembers, she explained. Hands remember, just need remind. But her abilities truly shone in the forest. Fyodor first took her on patrol after 2 weeks. She begged, wanted to see the taiga, feel earth underfoot. He agreed, though worried. The route wasn't short, parts tough. Worried needlessly. Yara walked the forest as if born there. No stumbling, no slipping, no snagging in deadfall. Her feet found the right path. Her body dodged obstacles Fyodor noticed a second later. And the animals. First a squirrel descended a trunk, stopped at Yara's eye level, chattered. Yara nodded, smiled. The squirrel scampered off. What she? Fyodor asked. Asked not go Old Pine East Slope. Her winter stores there. Then a capercaillie burst from bushes, not with usual clamor and panic. Slowly, calmly perched on a branch, looked at Yara, flew away. Says saw people yesterday, Yara said. 2 with iron. With iron? Weapons. How he sees it. Poachers. Fyodor frowned. This time of year, this area, almost certainly poachers. He'd spend half a day reaching and checking the spot. Yara learned in a minute from a bird. This? Incredible. Normal, Yara replied. For me, for guardians. We always heard earth, beasts, trees. You unlearned or never could. But people can learn. She looked at him appraisingly. Some, not all. Maybe you listen forest, feel it, just not understand what here. Fyodor remembered the feeling that led him to the fissure. Warden's intuition he'd always called experience. What if? Teach me? Yara smiled, that warm, soft smile he'd first seen days ago. Try. Days flowed in a strange, unfamiliar rhythm. Fyodor did his usual. Patrols, checks, fighting poachers. But now with Yara, everything changed. She sensed danger kilometers away, knew where beasts hid, where people lurked. Her warnings saved Fyodor time and effort several times. He went straight to violators, bypassing empty spots. She predicted weather with accuracy any meteorologist would envy. Not for a day or two, a week ahead. Knew when rain came, when snow fell, when frost hit. How you do? Fyodor asked again and again. Earth speaks. Just listen. She tried teaching him. Made him sit still, eyes closed, listening to forest, wind in crowns, creak of trees, rustle of leaves, something deeper, quieter beneath. Feel? She'd ask. Don't know, maybe. Sometimes he thought he caught it. A rhythm, a movement under surface sounds, but couldn't hold it. Patience, Yara said. You learned walk many moons. This harder. They lived together and it was strange and it was natural. Fyodor didn't think of her as a woman. Not in that sense. She was other, not human in the usual way, ancient, wise, not of this world yet very alive, very real. She laughed when amused, softly, melodically. Frowned when displeased. Saddened at sunset, remembering something. Delighted in simple things. Hot tea, warm fire, first snow. She was human, or had been once, or had become so long ago the difference blurred. One evening, early in the third week, Fyodor gathered courage and asked, Will you stay? Yara sat at the window, staring at stars, turned to him. Stay here with me. I understand you probably have places to go, other spots, other guardians, but if you want, you can stay. She was silent long. Fyodor regretted asking. Foolish, presumptuous. She, a being from ancient times. What did she care for a lonely warden? Nowhere to go, Yara said finally. My people gone. Places I knew changed or vanished. I alone. Pause. But you asked not that. You asked if I want stay? Yes, want. The word hung between them, simple, short, infinitely important. You first person in thousands winters who talks me, Yara continued. You woke me, fed, warmed, taught live again. You not scared, not run. Not bring other people watch me like curiosity. I thought about it, Fyodor admitted. Bring people, scientists, doctors, but didn't. Yara rose, approached him, stopped close, closer than ever. Her silvery eyes met his. I stay, she said. If you want. She extended her hand, touched his palm. Her fingers were warm. He knew what that meant. She was healthy, strong, her body fully alive again. Then stay. They stood minutes like that, silent, holding hands, no more words needed. Then Yara stepped back, returned to the window. Something changed in the air, between them, in everything, something good. Late that night, as Fyodor drifted off on his bunk by the stove, Yara spoke suddenly. Quiet but clear. Fyodor. Yes. He sat up, instantly awake. Something in her voice. What is it? Yara stared into the darkness outside. Her face was pale, tense. When Guardian wakes, not unnoticed. Their people seek us, long seek, centuries, millennia. What people? Those want use our abilities or destroy us so we not interfere. They know signs awakening, can read them. Fyodor felt a chill inside. You mean, Yara turned to him. Fear in her eyes, real human fear. Others come, she said. Always come when someone wakes. Question of time. After that talk, Fyodor saw the taiga differently. Before, the forest was home. Familiar, understandable, safe. Now every rustle behind trees, every snap of a branch made him tense. He caught himself listening, watching, seeking signs of intruders. Yara sensed his unease. No need fear early, she'd say. When danger comes, I know. Earth tell. What if not in time? In time. Always was. But Fyodor couldn't relax. For the first time in years, he felt responsibility for someone besides himself, for someone depending on him. And that feeling wouldn't let him rest. A few days later, he decided to go to the settlement. Needed supplies, grains, salt, ammo, and more. Fyodor wanted to talk to people, learn if strangers had appeared, if anyone asked about local spots. Yara stayed in the hut. Fyodor didn't want to risk it. If watchful eyes in the settlement, better they see him alone. Safer. To Kameny Broad settlement was 4 hours in his old UAZ on the battered logging road. Winter, all 6 if passable at all. Now, mid-October, the road held, though spots required low gear, crawling through mud pits. The settlement was small, 300 residents, counting outlying farms. Store, post office, clinic, club, houses scattered along the single street. Typical taiga village, many on maps, few in reality. People left. Youth didn't return. Each year fewer living homesteads. Fyodor stopped at the store, got what needed, then post office, check for letters from daughter. None as usual. He'd grown used to not expecting. One more stop, Proker Yelnik. Proker was the oldest hunter around 83-70 in the taiga. His grandfather hunted here pre-revolution, father in 30s-40s. Proker remembered what no one living did. Legends, stories, tales, all stored in his gray head, shared with good listeners. Fyodor was one. Proker's house stood on the outskirts by the forest. Sagging fence, old bathhouse, garden overgrown with weeds. Wife died 5 years back, he stopped tending it. Why for one old man? Fyodor knocked. Long no answer. Then door creaked. Wrinkled face in the gap.
Ah, Fedka, come in.
House smelled of smoke, herbs, age. Proker seated guest at table. Put kettle on stove, sat opposite. Fixed faded blue eyes. Long no visit. Something happen. No or maybe. Fyodor hesitated. Want ask something. Ask. You heard anything about sleepers under stone? Proker froze. His hand reaching for matches halted midway. Why sudden? Just curious. Local legends that. The old man eyed him long, appraising, then slowly lit a match, puffed his roll up. Sleepers under stone, he repeated. Long not heard those words. Thought no one remembers. You remember?
Du.
Grandpa told his grandpa him. Proker inhaled, blue smoke at ceiling. Said in mountains deep underground sleep ancient people, not dead, alive. Slept way back when world young. Wait till called. Called for what? Different said. Some protect people from trouble, some punish sins, some just wake live again. Legends like that, each teller adds own. Fyodor nodded, nothing new yet. Also said, Proker continued, lowering voice. People seek sleepers. Long seek. Hundreds years want find wake. Why? Who knows? Power maybe, knowledge. Ancients knew what we forgot. Or curiosity, greed. People vary. Old man paused, gazing out window. Grandpa said pre-revolution outsiders from city, capital came. Scientists said, sought caves, asked locals, paid well for info, left never returned. Then war, revolution. No time, no more came. Proker stubbed roll up. Came 30s, 50s, then my time 70s. Same each time. Strangers, questions about caves, ancient places. Pay, ask, leave. Fyodor tensed every muscle. Recently, lately? Old man gave strange look. Why ask, Fedka? Found something? No, just interested. Proker snorted, clearly disbelieving, but didn't press. Recently don't know. Barely leave house, see. But if come, you'll know. Such people noticeable. Not local, obvious. Ask odd. Kettle whistled. Proker rose, poured boiling water into teapot. Fyodor sat silent, digesting. So true, not invention, not tale, true. People sought sleepers for centuries, perhaps still. Thanks, Proker, he said, rising. Time go. Wait. Old man went to old chest, rummaged drawer, pulled something, handed Fyodor. Old photo, yellowed, frayed edges. Group in pre-revolutionary clothes against rock. In rock, dark fissure, the same. Fyodor's breath caught. Where from? From Grandpa. Guided those scientists came. Said sought this cave. Found or not, don't know. Grandpa didn't tell. Left photo. Fyodor stared at shot, at fissure he'd seen weeks ago, which by memory didn't exist a month back. This cave blocked maybe. Maybe, Grandpa said. Entrances such places open close. When need, appear. When not, hide. Proker took photo, hid back in chest. Careful, Fedka. Found something, better quiet. Such things dangerous, not for simple folk. Fyodor nodded, shook old man's hand. Left. Boarding car. He noticed unfamiliar SUV at street's other end, new, black, tinted windows. Beside, two men. One tall in dark jacket, other shorter, stocky. Talking to store clerk. Fyodor got in UAZ but didn't start. Watched. Clerk Nina, he knew her. Shook head, shrugged. Men asked. She answered. One pulled something from pocket. Fyodor couldn't see. Showed her. She shook head again. Strangers, arrived. Fyodor started engine. Drove out settlement. Avoiding attention. In rear view, one man watched him go. Road home felt endless. Yara met him at threshold. From her face, he knew she knew. They here, she said. Saw in settlement, too. 2 scouts. Soon more. Fyodor carried supplies inside. Hands trembled slightly. He tried not show. What do? Yara stood at window, gazing forest ward. Back tense. For now wait. They not know where I. Not know you found me. Seek cave. And find. Maybe entrance closed. I felt. Earth hid but they no search. Have tools. She turned to him. Need careful, not go out without need, not show. If learn guardian woke, what then? Then come here, not stop till find me. 2 days passed intense waiting. Fyodor didn't go beyond 100 meters from hut. Yara not at all. She sat inside, listening to what he couldn't hear. Sometimes her eyes went empty, absent. What you do? He asked once. Listen. Earth, beasts, wind. Try understand where they, what? Closer than yesterday. Found cave or what's left. On 3rd day they came. Fyodor heard engine sound long before car appeared on path. In these parts, vehicles rare, his UAZ only 1 for kilometers. Yara, he called softly. She was beside. Touched his arm. Hide in cellar. Not talk about me, whatever ask. She slipped to hatch in hut corner. Fyodor opened. Helped descend. Closed. Covered with old rug. Car stopped at porch. Fyodor went out, trying look calm. Ordinary warden with visitors. Nothing special. From black SUV emerged those 2. He recognized. Tall, about 40, short haircut, sharp gaze. Stocky, younger, broad face, small eyes. Good day, Tall said. You Warden Osipov? I? And you? From Research Institute, studying region geology. Pulled ID from pocket, showed. Fyodor glanced. Red cover with unfamiliar acronym. Can ask questions? Ask. Tall smiled. Smile didn't reach eyes. Seek old caves this area. Natural cavities, karst formations. Locals say you know places best. No. So? Seen anything unusual? Fissures? Sinkholes? Underground entrances? Fyodor paused. Feigned thought. No, seems. Rocky here, but no big caves. Small burrows. Tall nodded. Pulled folded paper from jacket. Unfolded. Old photo, black-white, rock with dark fissure, the one from Proker, one he found after landslide. This familiar? Fyodor looked. Heart pounded faster, but he hid. Where shot? What we want know. Photo over 100 years old. Somewhere here, but exact lost. Fyodor shook head. Don't recognize. Rocks here all similar. Tall stared long, unblinking, then put photo away. Well, if remember or see similar, contact us. Handed card. Pay well for info. Fyodor took card, pocketed. Sure. They left. Fyodor watched till car vanished behind trees. Then opened cellar hatch. All, he said. Gone. Yara climbed ladder. Face pale. Heard through boards. They not believe you. No. They'll return. Fyodor looked at card. Smooth cardstock. Black letters. Mezentsev. Special research. Phone, email, no address. No, he repeated. But first we leave. They left that night. Fyodor packed essentials. Food few days, warm clothes, rifle, ammo, first aid, map. Yara helped silently, no extra questions. She understood, time for talk over. Where? She asked when pack's ready. North. Old winter hut there. You know, hunters used once, now abandoned. 2 days walk. They search. Will. But taiga big, we leave no tracks. He doused stove, closed shutters, wrote note. For if locals drop by, gone far patrol back week. Hung on door. Left in dark, no lights. Moon lit enough for path. Yara led, her eyes saw better in night. First hours uneventful. Moved fast as terrain allowed. Skirted open areas. stuck under tree cover. Fyodor stopped few times, listened. Nothing, only night forest sounds. By dawn, 20 km away, rested in thick spruce grove, ate bread and lard. Yara didn't sleep, sat still, eyes closed. What feel? Fyodor asked. They your house. Came dawn, found note. And next? Wait or split. One stayed, other went somewhere. For backup. Yara opened eyes. Yes, think yes. They moved on. Now Fyodor led, he knew spots better. How bypass bogs, find fords over streams, where pass, where avoid. By noon, heard helicopter. Sound from a far south, settlement side. Fyodor grabbed Yara's hand, pulled under thick spruce, lay on ground, pressed to roots, held breath. Helicopter passed east, not over, but its presence said much. Serious people, Fyodor muttered. Helicopter money, big money. Won't spare money, Yara said. Sought us centuries. Now so close, won't stop. They went on faster. Fyodor felt back ache from heavy pack. Legs tire. Not young, 52, each year felt now. But couldn't stop. By evening, reached river, narrow, swift, icy water. Ford upstream, 3 kilometer. Fyodor turned there. Yara stopped. Stop! What? People ahead, 3. Fyodor listened. Nothing. Sure. Yes, wait at ford. How they know? Map. Your house had map marks. They saw. Fyodor cursed. Quiet, heartfelt. Of course, map on wall with trails, fords, huts marked. Hung for convenience, led enemies right. What do? Yara scanned. Eyes gleamed silver in dusk. Go around. Other way. Yes, but long, dangerous. Swamp. Swamp better than people. They turned east. Now harder going. Feet squelched mud. Boots sank moss. Fyodor led, probing with stick. Yara followed exactly. Dark fell fast. Soon pitch black. Moon behind clouds. Fyodor wanted stop, wait. Yara shook head. Can't. They move. Follow trail. How in dark? Have devices. Feel. Something sees heat. Thermal imagers, sure, serious with serious gear. They kept going. Fyodor felt strength drain. Legs shook, breath ragged. In shape for age, but this forced march could exhaust youth. Fyodor. He stopped. Yara beside, looking. You tired? Can't further. Can must.
No.
She touched his arm. I do something. Don't scare. What you? Yara closed eyes. Lips moved soundless, uttering words in that language Fyodor didn't understand. Ancient words, forgotten words, and fog. It rose from nowhere, from ground, crept from bushes, flowed between trees, thick, dense, milky white. In seconds, enveloped everything. Fyodor saw no further than outstretched hand. What this? Earth helps, Yara said, voice tired, but strong. They not find us while. She took his hand. Come, I see path. They walked through fog. Fyodor saw nothing but white veil. But Yara led confidently, skirting obstacles, finding firm ground amid swamp mire. Behind, distant angry shouts. Pursuers lost trail. They walked till dawn. When first sun rays tinted east sky, fog dissipated. By then far out of swamps, up rocky ridge overlooking endless taiga. Yara sank on stone, face gray with fatigue. You okay? Fyodor asked. Yes, just tired. This hard. Used easier. Used when long ago. She smiled weakly. Body and used. Needs time. Fyodor sat beside, gave flask to drink. How you do fog? Asked earth, water, air. They remember me, my people, respond. You control nature. No. Yara shook head. Not control, ask. Different. Control force. Ask request. They can refuse, but not yet. Fyodor silent. Processing. He'd seen it, fog from nowhere, but still couldn't fully believe. Need go further, he said finally. To hut half day more. No, but first look. She pointed down, valley they came from. Among trees, figures moved. Small from distance, barely visible. 3, no 5 people. And dog. Fyodor saw by motion. Dog, Yara said. Bad. Fog not full dog. Then hurry. They descended ridge, delved forest again. Now slower. Strength gone. Fyodor carried both packs. Yara barely stepped. By noon, heard barking, distant but clear. Dog on scent. Faster, Fyodor said. Can't. Can.
Come.
He hooked her arm, dragged forward. She tried, but legs buckled. Barking closer. Fyodor. Voice barely audible. Leave me, go. No, they want you, not me. If go, said no. He stopped, dropped packs, pulled rifle. Then fight. Yara looked with those silvery eyes. Tired but alive. You strange man, Fyodor Osipov. No. They backed to cliff, covering rear. Fyodor front, rifle ready. Yara behind, holding stone. From forest burst dog. Large German shepherd. Foam on muzzle. Saw them, barked furiously. Followed people, 3 camo armed, not hunters, pros. Stand, one shouted. Drop rifle. Fyodor didn't. Raised barrel. Back. Step more, shoot. Don't fool, old man. We automatics. I buckshot, nothing lose. Pause. Stared over sights. Then Yara stepped forward. Wait, she said. Voice quiet, but something made all freeze. Even dogs stopped barking. Yara raised hands.
Slowly, no sudden moves.
Lips moved, and earth trembled. Not strong. Light shake like distant explosion. Trees swayed, needles showered. Dog whined, pressed ground. One pursuer, young, nervous, raised automatic. Fired. Bullet hit cliff near Yara. Stone shards sprayed. She cried, clutched shoulder. Fyodor fired back. Buckshot whipped bushes. Aimed not at people, aside to scare. Retreat! Someone yelled. They backed, firing short bursts. Fyodor fired, covering Yara. Reload, shoot. Reload, shoot. Then silence. Pursuers vanished in forest. Radio crackle voices. Yara sat by cliff, pressing shoulder. Blood seeped between fingers. Grazed, she said. Not deep shard. Fyodor knelt, checked wound. Long scratch from stone shard, bleeding, not dangerous.
Lucky.
Yes, she smiled weakly.
Lucky.
From forest, loud angry voice, radio distorted. Base, object active. Repeat, object active. Shows anomalous abilities. Need backup.
Urgent.
Fyodor and Yara exchanged glances. Now definitely not back off, she said. No, he helped her up. But while wait backup, we time.
Come.
Hut close. They went on, leaving voices, radio crackle, distant approaching helicopter hum. The winter hut stood in a ravine between 2 hills, old, blackened by time, half sunk in earth. Roof sagged one side, walls tilted, but frame held. Stove inside intact. Fyodor checked couple years back, wandering far patrols. They arrived evening. Yara barely on feet. Wound not serious, but blood loss. Fatigue took toll. Fyodor nearly carried last kilometers. Good she light, almost weightless. He laid her on old bunks, covered with spruce branches. Lit stove fire. Would under lean-to dry, ready. Boiled water, washed wound. Bandaged with clean cloth from kit. Thanks, Yara whispered. Rest, talk morning. But she didn't want quiet. No, she said, propping on elbow. Now, you must know all. Fyodor sat nearby on stump by stove. Fire crackled behind cast iron door, casting orange flickers on log walls. Listening, Yara silent long, gathering thoughts, then spoke slowly, choosing words carefully. My people, we not people, not quite, or were, but long ago, difference blurred. What mean? Mean we lived beside people, but separate. Looked like, but different. Lived longer, saw more, did what people call magic, though for us natural. Like breathe, like see. She paused. Called us different. In different lands, times, guardians, watchers, those between. Stood on border between world you know and hidden world. Watched border not tear. Nothing should come here from there. What beyond border? Yara looked at him. Something in eyes, fear, memory. Various, not all bad, but much dangerous for people, for world. Beings feed on fear. Forces distort reality. Shadows seek bodies enter. Fyodor listened. Part wanting say, delirium tales impossible. Other part, that saw fog rise at her word. Felt earth tremble, silent. Believed. Guarded border thousands years, Yara continued. But we fewer. We not breed like people, slow, rare, and people grew, multiplied, filled earth. No more believed old, saw no border, felt no danger. Became unneeded. Bitterness in voice. Border strengthened itself, or because we strengthened, don't know. Breaches rare. People forgot us, we tired. She leaned back on branches, staring ceiling. Then decided sleep, not die, sleep, save selves if needed again. Each found place deep underground, protected, hidden. Lay in stone cradle. Slept. How many you? Many thousands maybe across earth, under mountains, forests, seas, where are sanctuaries. And now still sleep. Don't know. Yara shook head. Feel echoes distant, weak. Some still sleep, but some maybe woke or woken. By these people, pursuers. Maybe. They seek us long, very long. Even when not sleeping, they sought. Wanted our knowledge, power, use or destroy if can't use. Fyodor rose, added wood to stove. Outside, howl, night blizzard rose, first year. Who they? People ordinary but obsessed. Generation to generation passed knowledge us. Sought, gathered info, waited. Have money, power, connections. Infiltrated many structures. Think that's word now. Structures? Yes. They won't stop, Yara said softly. Now know I woke. Real won't. Fyodor silent. Knew she right. People with helicopters, automatics, thermals, dogs, such don't retreat, achieve goal. What can we do? Yara looked, eyes weary yet resolute. Way exists. Ancient, dangerous, but only. What? Oblivion. Ritual erases memory. Not kills, just makes forget all linked me, cave, search. Possible. Possible, but needs much power. Power I almost know now. She closed eyes. Need time recover. Gain strength. Few days at least. How many? Don't know, 2, 3, maybe more. Fyodor looked window or slit between boarded panes. Blizzard raged outside. Blizzard covers us. Helicopter no fly this weather. Walk no either. Too dangerous. Hope so. She fell asleep fast, sinking like whirlpool. Fyodor sat by stove, listened wind howl. Thought his life. Long, lonely, habitual. How all changed weeks. Woman sleeping on bunks. Ancient, non-human, beautiful. Ready die for her. Thought came naturally, no drama, no pathos. Simple fact. If need, stand between her and enemies, hold as long can. Strange feeling for man lived last 30 years only self. Blizzard lasted 2 days. Fyodor barely slept. On watch, listening, checking surroundings when wind eased. Yara slept most time. Woke, drank water, 8-bit porridge, slept again. Body healed. Fyodor saw skin pink, shadows under eyes fade. Third day woke different, sat on bunks, stretched, looked Fyodor, smiled. Better, said. Much better. Ready. Almost. Day more, maybe 2. But no day. By noon blizzard eased. Evening Fyodor heard distant helicopter hum. Circled south over area they came. Searching, Yara said. But not found yet. Hut well hidden. For long. No answer. Night they came. Fyodor woke Yara shaking shoulder. Eyes wide. People. Whispered. Close many. He grabbed rifle, dashed window. Moonlight, blizzard gone, sky clear. Saw figures. 1, 2, 5, many. Encircling hut. Moving slow, cautious. How many? 10, maybe more. Armed. Dogs. Fyodor cursed. 10 against 1 rifle, no chance. Not half. Windows, he said. All boarded. Yes, but can burn. Can. Thought feverishly. Exit only door. Window small, boarded inside. Walls thick logs. Bullet no pierce, but fire. We have ace, Yara said. What? Me. She rose, went door. Gate firm, confident, not like days ago. Fyodor, trust me? Yes. Then not go out. Whatever happens, not out, not fear. Yara, please. She opened door. Cold air rushed in. Moonlight flooded threshold. Yara stepped out, door closed behind. Fyodor lunged after, but something stopped. Not fear, not command, something else. Since this needed, she knew what doing. Pressed to wall slit, looked out. Yara stood midst clearing before hut. Around, ring people armed. Laser sights danced red dots her chest. "Stand!" someone shouted. Hands head. Yara unmoved. "You sought me," said. Voice calm, resonant, carried over clearing like bell. "Found. Now what?" Man stepped forward. Fyodor recognized tall, sharp gaze. Mezentsev came to hut. "Now you come us," said. "Willing or not, your choice, but come. Why need me? You know, abilities, knowledge, what you do. Studied you centuries. Now finally found." Yara tilted head slightly. "You not understand what seek, what play with. Maybe, but learn." Pause. Wind tousled Yara's hair, silvering moonlight. "No," she said. "Not learn." She raised hands. Air around glowed. Faint, barely, but brighter each second. Symbol wrist flared same light as cave, sarcophagus. "Fire!" Mezentsev shouted. Shots, many, automatic bursts, pistol pops. Fyodor screamed, lunged door, and froze. Bullets not reach Yara. Stopped, hung air around like flies amber. Dozens bullets, frozen centimeters her body. Glow unbearable. Yara spoke. In ancient language Fyodor not understand. Words flowed like water, song, prayer. And something responded, earth, air, reality fabric. Mezentsev backed. Men too. Dogs whined, pressed ground. "What she do?" someone cried. "Abort, all abort." Late. Light flashed blinding, intolerable. Fyodor squinted, shielded face. When opened eyes, clearing empty. Fyodor burst from hut, beside himself. "Yara!" She lay on snow, still, arms flung. He dropped knees beside, grabbed shoulders, turned. Eyes closed, face pale as death, but chest rose. Breathing. "Yara! Yara! Here!" Eyelids fluttered, opened. Silvery eyes, dull, tired, but alive. Looked him. "Worked," whispered. "What worked? Where they? Gone. Gone. Forgot." She tried sit, couldn't. Fyodor caught, helped. "Ritual worked," panted. "Gone. Not remember why came. Not remember me, cave. Nothing." Fyodor scanned. Snow tracks, many, leading forest, but no people. "No dogs." Silence. "They alive?" "Yes, just lost in head. Wander hours, then road, people, return lives, but never recall." She coughed. Fyodor held close. "Quiet. Don't talk. Rest." "No, not all." Grabbed arm. "Cave need close forever. How earth do?" I asked, but needs time, hours. Then entrance collapse. Hide. No one find more. Fyodor looked, this woman just did impossible, deflected bullets, erased memory, dozen armed. Asked earth hide ancient sanctuary. "You, okay?" "Will be." Weak smile. "Needs time, much time, but will." He lifted her, easy as child, carried inside. Laid on bunks, covered all found, stoked stove hotter. She slept almost immediately. Fyodor sat beside, watched shadows dance her face. Thought what happened, what saw, what meant for him, world all, and knew nothing same. But maybe good. They returned hut week later, going slow. Yara not fully recovered, tired quick. But each day better. By time reached familiar ravine, walked alone, no support. Hut untouched. Note on door where left. Inside all place as if no one came. "They remember," Yara said, eyeing untouched map wall. "For them this place not exist. I not exist. Cave not. What remember? Don't know exact, something else. Mind-filled void, something, false memories. How oblivion works, not leave holes." Fyodor went spot Fisher was. Now solid rock. No entrance trace, as if never. Sure not return? Sure. No reason return. Their organization still exists. But lost main, knowledge what seek. Documents, photos, records. All nonsense them now. Can't read own archives. Harsh. Yara looked serious. "Maybe, but wanted take me, use or kill if can't." I defended. "Defended you." "Not judging, just ask." "No." They stood silent. Gazing rock hid ancient cave. Somewhere deep underground remained stone sarcophagus where Yara slept millennia. Now empty, perhaps forever. "Now what?" Fyodor asked finally. Yara turned. "Now live. That simple. What else?" Shrugged. "I no more guardian, no watcher. My people gone. World changed, I know my place. But you offered stay. I stayed. But abilities stay with me. Weak in time, feel but not vanish full. Still hear earth, beasts, wind. Still know when rain or snow. Bad. Yara smiled, that smile he knew, loved.
No.
Liberation. Thousands years I more than human. Now can be just self, whatever that. She extended hand, took palm. If you allow. Fyodor squeezed fingers. Allow. 3 years passed. Much or little, Fyodor didn't know. Before, years dragged slow, identical, gray. Now flew, full life, meaning, warmth. Lived together same hut, edge same ravine. Fyodor still warden. Patrols, checks, poacher fights. But now not alone. Yara adapted new world as possible. Learned mobile phone, though signal only atop nearest hill. Learned Red Russian, fluent, devouring books. Fyodor brought settlement. Learned drive old UAZ, preferred walk. In settlement known distant relative Fyodors. From city, odd, quiet, but kind. Helped locals. Healed herbs, predicted weather, found lost livestock. People took granted. In remote places always seers, healers. Once, late autumn 3rd year, Yara returned forest walk strange expression. What happened? Fyodor asked. Silent long, then, felt echo. Far east. Echo what? Awakening. Fyodor froze. Another guardian. Maybe. Weak. Unsure. Like first breath after long sleep. What mean? Yara approached window, looked forest gilded autumn. Don't know, maybe nothing. Echo could past echo. Or maybe someone woke. Far away. Alone. Scared. Not understand what happened. Turned to him. Like me then. Fyodor approached, hugged. She pressed close. Warm, alive, real. If true, said. If someone woke, can help? Don't know. Far, very far. And I not what before. Power fades. But you still feel? Yes, still feel. Stood silent. Embraced. Gazing autumn forest. Maybe someday, Yara said finally. Someday find help not alone. Maybe, but not now. Not now, Fyodor agreed. Now live here together. Yara smiled. Yes, together. Outside, last leaves fell. Soon winter, long, snowy, true taiga winter. Then spring, summer, autumn again. Life went on. The one who slept under stone woke, found place in world, found man accepted her as is. And somewhere far east, west, north, south. Under mountains, forests, seas, deserts, others slept, waited their hour, awakening their Fyodor. And maybe someday wake. But that's another story entirely.